everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. All right, it's Tuesday night and I'm here with a sketch challenge for you. So I'm just checking to see that I can see if anybody's joined me yet. I'm sure there'll be some joining shortly. I'll just find my group, that would be great. There we go. All right, so I'm sure there we go. I can see I'm live and that's always a good thing. So I'm sure there'll be some people jumping on. So tonight's sketch is, it's a pretty easy sketch in some ways, and lots of different things you can do with it. It's a great way to use up some designer series paper. It's a great way to add some texture. And it gives you lots of room for doing some stamping if that's what you want to do on your cards. So, hey, Catherine, great. All right, so I'm going to switch over to my desktop and we will get started. Hey, Tamarish, welcome. I will, the actual sketch will go live. I've got it to go posted in about an hour. So it will post on my Facebook page and group. And so you'll be able to find the sketch with all the measurements if you miss anything along the way. Don't forget, if you are on my Facebook group, Create with Stamping with Melva, don't forget to share your cards because, gosh, it's getting close to the end of the month. And at the end of the month, I make a draw from those who have shared their beautiful projects over the course of the month and send them some happy mail. So, hey, Sandy. Yeah, welcome. Watching while you work. Yeah, no, understand that. So I can't wait to see what you create later. All right, let me switch over. And hey, Darlene. Okay, so this is the sketch. And you'll hopefully see I've said that all sorts of things you can do with this. So you can use either a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock or 4 1/4 by 11. Doesn't really matter. It's got a piece of cardstock that you're just going to get a tiny little peekaboo layer that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then layer 2, which is this blue layer, is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So just 1/8 of an inch smaller all around than layer number 2. Layer number 3, which is this orange piece across, is 1 3/4 by 3 7/8. And then the white layer is 2.5 by 4 inches. So all sorts of ways, and I'll kind of give you some ideas. I'll show you what I'm going to do with it, and then I'll give you some ideas of what else you can do with it as you go, or as I go. All right, what am I going to use for tonight's? I am using the flowering tulips, and of course it's hard to see, so let me take this out so you can actually see. This is I love this, the flowering tulips. It goes with a set of dies that I'm going to use tonight as well. It is part of the Flowering Fields product suite that actually has 2 different bundles in it. The other bundle has the windmill dies and stamps. This has got all the tulips, and then the dies will also make tulips. And my favorite, and what really drew me to this stamp set is this sentiment here that's in the circle. I just really love that. Okay, and then the dies, I'll show you as I'm cutting out. So the dies will cut out the tulips as well as it will cut out these tulips that you can stamp. All right, let me bring in what I've got cut. I've gone ahead and cut out some of these pieces already. And let's get all these. Okay, so I am using a color that I don't use very often. It is Mango Melody, bright, cheery color. Kind of a cross between an orange and a yellow. So I've got this cut 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm scoring it at 4 1/4. And the reason I chose this one is because it goes with the designer series paper. So I've scored it. This is the side I scored on. It's got an indented line. It's got the raised line. So fold into the mountain or the raised line to get a better fold. Grab your bone folder. Give it a good burnish with the bone folder. Okay, so that's my card base. Now my layer number 2 is Evening Evergreen, and this is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then my layer number 3 is this. This is one of the designer series paper with all the tulips on it. And then the other side is just kind of a pattern piece. But I just love these colors. And that's why I chose the Mango Melody, because I thought it went really well. It's one of the colors in the designer series paper. So we're just going to adhere this one. So this piece was my layer number 3. No, sorry, layer number 2, which was cut 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So just getting a peekaboo of the evening evergreen behind it. And then my layer number 3 is 1 3/4 by 3 7/8, and I've cut a piece of evening evergreen. Now, you could do all sorts of things with this. I'm just going to put evening evergreen. I've just put the cardstock behind it, but you could actually emboss this. You could do some stamping, and I've actually got a piece of adhesive sheet behind it, but I'm going to just so happened that I had this. This isn't anything you have to do, but since I've got it on here, I think I was cutting out something that I was going to use an intricate die for. So I've got adhesive on one side, and we'll put some multi-purpose liquid glue on the other side. All right, and I'm going to put this roughly halfway down the middle. There we go. Just to kind of break up the designer series paper. There we go. All right, now I've got a piece of basic white. This is cut 2.5 by 4. So it's going to go in the middle. If you wanted to add even a little bit, another layer, you could put a little peekaboo, another layer behind this, maybe of the evening evergreen. And it would be, if I was going to do it, I would just put a tiny, 1/8 of an inch. So 2 3/8 by 4 1/8 would just give you a peekaboo of maybe evening evergreen behind it. But I don't have that ready, so I'm not going to use that. What I am going to put on there, so you could do some stamping on that, or you can make some tulips. So I've gone ahead and cut out using the dies. And let me bring in my dies. These tulips really aren't that hard to make. So there are a number of tulips that cut out these 3-dimensional. So let me just bring in the pieces that you will need to make these tulips. There is also stem pieces and a leaf that I've cut out, but those aren't hard to figure out. Okay, so the bodies of the tulips are, there are 3 bodies. There is that one, and that one, which I have cut out of Mango Melody. So basically there are score lines. So when you've got it cut out, you can just fold on the score lines to get your tulip kind of layers. So this one folds in half, that one folds, the 2 outside edges fold in, and then this one also folds in on itself like that. So that gives you the bases. Now for the insides, there are actually 2, although you have 3 of these dies, these ones that go, actually I cut too many of those, but that's okay. So you've got one of these, and that fits into this wider one. Actually, it fits into these 2 wider ones. So I may have to cut another one of those. And then this bud one fits in to this piece. Now, I haven't quite figured out which is the top. I think this one with the kind of, it's hard to see, there's a bit of a ruffled edge on this top, or a little bit of a curved edge. And I think that's the piece that goes to the top. I wouldn't swear it. And then this piece fits in like this. So just, you can use, I've cut these middle pieces out of designer series paper, but you could cut them out of another color. So I'm going to use those. And you can use mini dimensionals to pop these up. Now, since I didn't cut out my two pieces. I'm going to use these two bud pieces. I'm just going to overlap them in here, and that will be my inside of that flower. Otherwise, I would have to go and find some designer series paper because I don't have enough. So I'm going to use glue dots to adhere these together. So first of all, I'm going to put a glue dot on each of these bud pieces that are going to go in the middle of this one. Oops. Just kind of fit them in. Like I said, it looks pretty with designer series paper. It looks pretty with the cardstock, but I'm just going to kind of make an inside for this one like that. And then I am, if I can find my mini dimensionals. Here we are. I'm just going to take a mini dimensional and put on here, and we will just pop that side up just so you've got some dimension to it. So that's one of my tulips. Then this one, again, I'm going to use a glue dot to stick my inside piece in like that. And then I'm going to use dimensionals. Let's put a dimensional on there. Oops, my hand stuck to the glue dots. There we go. And a mini dimensional there. So that will go like that. And that will close that one. There we go. So there's my second tulip. And then for this one, let's put the curved side. I think that's the way it goes. This will go towards the top like that. And then I'm going to stick this side down with a glue dot. Like that. And this side down with a mini dimensional. Just to give it. There we go. All right, so I've got my 3 tulips. They go together fairly easily. I made a swap card with 3 of the tulips on each card, 10 of the cards, and somebody said, oh my gosh, that's so much work. But it really isn't all that much work once you've got your pieces cut. And you can cut a lot of pieces all together with this because, hey Kathleen, because you've got the dies, especially they give you the 3 bud, the bud inside for the bud, and cut 3 of those all at once. All right, I've also gone ahead and cut out, actually I only cut 3 stems. I probably should have cut 4 stems. All right, let's cut another stem. And I cut 1 leaf. So we'll cut one of the thin ones again. Let me just cut that over here. So I'm cutting these out of evening evergreen. All right. Okay, there's another stem. Should have counted that. I thought about that as I was going. All right, so I'm going to put all of these together on this this piece. This is layer number 4. So I'm bringing my silicone mat over so I don't get glue all over the place because I'm just using. Now this is where adhesive sheets work really well. Because you can put your adhesive sheet on the back and then just peel it off and you will not have to deal with little glue. All right. So there's one. Let's see. I might trim some of these. So let's put that like that. And this one like that. Oops. And this one like that. Oops, is that the right way? Yep. Okay, get these going the right way. There's not, when I say right way, there isn't actually a right and a wrong way. It's just that for my card, I want this one facing like that. So therefore, for me, there was a right and a wrong way. I'm going to trim this at the bottom. And then the last thing I'm going to do is put just one leaf on here. And I'm actually going to pop this up with some mini dimensionals. I didn't stamp this. You could stamp it, but I didn't. There is a stamp. I figured I had enough pattern on here. Let's see. There we go. All right, now let's use some regular size dimensionals for our flowers. Take that out from under there. All right. So I'll put that there, that there, and the bud that. Yeah. Okay. Again, no right or wrong way to put these tulips on. I'm just kind of eyeballing it how I think it looks nice for my card. There we go. All right, so let's put the bud on first because it's in the middle. And that way. That. And then these can go like that. Definitely a bright and cheery card, this. And then this one can go on like that. All right, got that. Now I'm just going to take and trim my stems off just so that they're even along the bottom. And then this piece, I have to figure out where I'm going to put my sentiment. I think I'm just going to glue this on flat because I have enough dimension with the tulips popped up as they are. So this is just going to go here in the center. Hopefully that's straight. And then this, oh, I've got some more of that adhesive sheet on here, so I only need the adhesive on one side of this. If you haven't played with these adhesive sheets, you really need to. Like I said, I don't need it for here, but I happen to have it glued on the back because I was cutting out something else. So therefore, now I'm going to put my liquid glue down first because it's forgiving. These adhesive sheets are not forgiving. So once they're down, they're down. So we'll get that on fairly straight. There we go. Okay, now what I need is a sentiment on here. So I think these sentiments are, so all of the stamps on this on the front are 90% of real size. So when you actually open them up, they are bigger than what they are up here. So let's see, what does that say? This one says, just thinking of you today. So let's do that. And we will stamp it in Evening Evergreen. How can I get that on there? Ooh. I could almost fit that on there without cutting out a sentiment. Let's see if we can do that. There we go. I think that looks good. Now, the one thing I don't have is any embellishments. All right, well, that's okay. And we will just adhere this on the inside, and then I will, when it goes out in the mail, I will write something in it. Now, I challenged everybody on my team and on the group. I think I did it in the group. Anyway, I challenged my team to do two things, because today was the 22nd of February 2022 with also all twos. And so I challenged my team to send out 2 cards to people that need it, to send out 2 cards to thank you, to do, I don't know, something else, 2 random acts of kindness. And so this will be one of my 2 cards that's going to go out in the mail. I will just take this tiny little piece of designer series paper that I have left over and put it on the inside of my card. Just here at the bottom. There we go. Don't waste these little strips of designer series paper, because you can always put them on the inside of your card just to decorate them a little bit. All right, so there, I will put some sentiments or some embellishments on here. I think it needs some bling, but maybe what I'll do, speaking of bling, I'm going to use some Wink of Stella, and I'm going to color, you won't be able to see this, but I'm going to color this leaf in Wink of Stella, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. Just because I didn't stamp on it, but that just gives it a little bit of something. There we go. All right, so that's my card. There's the sketch. Looks pretty close. You could do all sorts of things. If you wanted to, you could do what I did with the designer series paper. You could have put plain cardstock here and put designer series paper across the middle. You could have done 3 different stripes. They could be all 3 different designer series paper, or you could have done some embellishing. All sorts of ways to play with this sketch. I love it because it gives us ways to use up pieces of designer series paper that might not be used up. Maybe ribbon by the stems. That's a great idea, Catherine. Maybe a little bow on the stems would be a nice idea. So I will do that. Maybe some of the evening evergreen open weave ribbon I will put on as a ribbon. That's a really good idea. All right, so that's my sketch for tonight. As I said, the sketch will go live in my group and on my page, I think at about 7:30 Pacific. So you'll have the sketch to play along with the measurements. If you have any questions, just leave a comment and I will answer them. If you aren't sure about the measurements or what I did, don't forget to post your cards in the group so that you'll have a chance to get something in the mail. I'll do a draw at the end of February from those who have shared. I will be back on Thursday night with a technique. It's time for a technique on Thursday night. So you can join me either Facebook group, Facebook page, or on YouTube for my technique. Not sure what it'll be yet, but we'll have something for you. So thanks everybody for joining me. Hope you enjoyed that. Happy stamping. Bye.